Welcome to Marketing Made Simple TV. I'm Jeff Ogden, the host of the show, and we're thrilled to have you back once again. And we've got another great guest and wonderful show planned for you. Our featured guest today is Chris Westfall, National Elevator Pitch Champion. So let's welcome Chris to the show.
Hello there, Jeff.
Hey there, Chris. Glad to have you on the show. As just to let our viewers know, we've known each other for quite some time, and we finally were able to get you on. So I'm glad to have you here.
Well, it's great to be here. It's an honor, and I want to say hello to everybody who's watching the show today. Appreciate you tuning in.
Thank you. I'm going to give you this question. It's a tradition of the show. We ask every guest on the show, and it's a very simple one. Who are you, and what do you do?
Well, you know how when you meet someone for the first time and they say, so tell me a little bit about yourself. Well, the classic answer to that question is called an elevator speech or an elevator pitch. And last year I was recognized as the National Elevator Pitch Champion. So what I do is I help people to become more effective at creating engagement, being persuasive, and influencing others by the way they communicate. Now that means, communication, whether you tweet it or tell it, so that your story can cut through the likes and the tweets and the pokes and create the kind of outcomes that you want. So that's what I do. I'm a speaker and an author, and I also provide executive coaching to folks at Fortune 100 companies as well as entrepreneurial organizations on how to create the outcomes they want through effective storytelling and communication.
That's interesting, Chris, and I'm a big fan of storytelling. I just think, I love shows like Breaking Bad and, the shows that tell stories. And stories are very powerful. So tell me, why do elevator pitches matter? Why do people need to think about their elevator pitch? And what the heck is an elevator pitch champion?
Well, all right. Let me take the first part of that question. Why does somebody need an elevator pitch? What a great question. It's not just for some mythical elevator ride. You need an elevator pitch when you want to influence and persuade the people that matter to you. So that means, if you want to get an investor for your business, if you want to get a job, if you want to get a raise, if you want to get a date, think of any situation where you want to persuade and influence others. You've got to have a story that makes others take action in some way. And being able to tell your story in a way that's concise and compelling is really the secret behind the new elevator pitch and delivering this kind of a message. Now, how does somebody get to be a national elevator pitch champion, right? That was your question? Well, for me, it all started off with a tweet. It started with a tweet, actually in my Twitter stream. And if you think of your Twitter stream, I've got over 12,000 followers at Westfall Online, which is my Twitter handle. And so my Twitter stream is pretty full. But I saw a tweet that someone was looking for the National Elevator Pitch Champion, and they wanted to know who had the best elevator pitch in the USA. The best short, compelling introduction to a person or a product or an idea. That's what an elevator pitch is. And this person was none other than Bloomberg Television's Jeffrey Hazlett. Jeffrey Hazlett, he's been on the show. He's a great guest. In fact, I think you may have featured him last week. Anyway, Jeff was looking for the best 118. And the 118 is what Jeffrey Hazlett calls the new elevator pitch. And he says that the new elevator pitch is 118 seconds long, about the length of an average elevator ride in New York City from the time that you press the button, the doors open, you get on, take the ride. So I created an elevator pitch and submitted it, a video submission to this contest, because I thought, I've been working and coaching folks on their elevator pitches and on their communication. Let's see how strong my medicine really is. So I submitted a video submission and I launched a nationwide social media campaign to gather votes. Jeff, I was second place in the national voting. Second place. But Jeffrey Hazlett and a team of experts that he had put together took a look at all the footage, and they said, in sort of an American Idol kind of way, you were second place in the voting, but you're first place with us, National Elevator Pitch Champion and Grand Prize winner. And from there, it's just been a tremendous experience, what I've been able to do because of that recognition and the companies that I've been able to work with and the connections that I've made. have just been incredible. And they've been incredible for me, but they've also been incredible for the folks that I've been able to influence and to help tell their stories in more powerful ways.
That's great, Chris. And Jeffrey Hazlett has been on the show recently, and he's a big fan of the show and a big supporter of the show. So I'm glad that you and he connected up. So let's talk about, who needs an elevator pitch. And I'm reminded by Daniel Pink, another guest on the show, who wrote a book called To Sell is Human, right? That everyone's in sales, whether you're selling to investors, whether you're selling to, getting a date, as you just said. It's all sales, but the words you choose is the words of a salesperson or an elevator pitch. So talk to me a little bit more about why people need it, who are candidates for it, and how do you go about crafting an elevator pitch?
Well, Daniel Pink's book is one of my favorites. To Sell is Human is just a terrific book. And what Daniel Pink says, and you touched on it, Jeff, is that we are all in sales. If sales means wanting to persuade others, I mean, even if it's just as simple as persuading your friend to try out a new sushi restaurant next Thursday, we are persuading and influencing others all over the place. And if you aspire to be a business leader, your ability as a leader really depends on the story that you tell, your ability to convey a message that's engaging and compelling and that's concise. Because our attention spans are short. I mean, we've got the attention span of a refresh rate. So you've got to be able to get your message out in a way that's easy to digest, easy to understand, and in a way that creates a message that inspires others to action. So if you're looking for ways to understand how to create that actionable message, that one of the things that I talk about in my book, The New Elevator Pitch, is that the new elevator pitch, it's not some pitch, right? It's not where you have to take on this persona of some pitch man. It's really, the new elevator pitch is a conversation. It's a conversation. A conversation is something that we have all day, every day. I mean, sometimes the conversation is like this, right? Sometimes the conversation is like this, but any way you slice it, we're having conversations all the time. And the new elevator pitch is really about the conversation that influences others. So think about the opportunities that you have to create a conversation. I mean, I know, Jeff, you're very, very active on Twitter. I am too. Social media is a great place to create the conversation. And what I'm suggesting is that it's not necessarily about the post, it's about the comments. In the new elevator pitch, if you want to know if you've got a great elevator pitch, don't think about the sound of your vowels or your gestures or anything like that. Put your attention on what your listener does when you're done. If you create a great elevator pitch, your listener says these three words in some form or fashion: tell me more. Tell me more. That's the way that you know that you've created a dialogue. And when you're having a dialogue with someone, you're having a conversation. You're not pitching them on some idea, but you're sharing ideas in a way that can create outcomes that, where the sum is greater than the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And I think that's the spirit really of To Sell is Human, what Daniel Pink was trying to say. And certainly what I'm trying to say in the new elevator pitch is that we persuade every day. And you owe it to yourself, if you want your message to make a difference, to take the time to think about the stories that you tell and the way that you tell them.
It's interesting, Chris, and I just noticed in the way you talk, too. You don't talk fast. You look the camera right square in the eye. You use your hands a little bit, but, it's just like, you're not people think of salespeople being fast talking and hiding things. But no, you're just right up front. You tell people like it is. So, yeah, very good stuff. So, again, let's get into some specifics here. Can you give me an example of an elevator pitch?
Well, sure. Absolutely. One of the things that I put forward in my book, and by the way, while we're on the subject of my book, it looks like this, subtle plug. The new elevator pitch, one of the things that I talk about is how, so many times when people say, so tell me a little bit about yourself, people don't know that that's a trick question. Because what people are actually saying is, tell me a little bit about what you might be able to do for me. I mean, it's a fact of nature that we are focused on ourselves. That's not to say that, people are selfish, but that's just a survival instinct. We're all focused on ourselves. And so when people say, tell me a little bit about yourself, what they're really saying is, tell me what you might be able to do for me. And so if you want to know what you can do to create a compelling elevator pitch, put your attention on your listener. Don't think of it as an opportunity to talk about yourself, talk about me, myself, and I, but it's an opportunity for you to phrase your accomplishments, your aspirations, your desires, your goals in terms of what you might be able to do for others, or maybe with, through, and for others. In other words, with the investment, with the help of the people around you. Here's what you might be able to accomplish. That's a much more engaging story than saying, what I've done is this and what I've done is that, and does this conversation feel like I'm reading to you from my LinkedIn profile? That's very different than creating a kind of engagement. And that engagement happens when you turn the mirror around, when you focus on your listener and realize that a dialogue has to be a bit of give and take. You have to take in the person who's in front of you. Otherwise, your message is pretty one-sided, and all you're doing is broadcasting, not connecting. Because when you make a connection, a real connection, that's when you can make a real difference.
That's a great takeaway from the show is stop broadcasting, start connecting. I think, or as Jay Baer says in his book, stop selling, start helping. I think it's the same concept, and focusing on the audience. So let's just talk a little bit more about the elevator pitch and, again, how you won it with Jeffrey Hazlett. What did you create and send to Jeffrey and his team to make you the champion in this? I'm just very curious.
You're going to be surprised by this story. At the time when I entered the contest, I was working with graduate students at a top MBA program here in my home state. And so I was working very closely with an academic institution, another way to say it. And as a result, when I created my elevator pitch, the subject of my championship elevator pitch, which, by the way, you can see on my YouTube channel, it's YouTube, youtube.com, of course, /Westfall Online. Westfall Online, that's my name, and it's like the direction of the season. Westfall Online, of course, you can see it there on the screen. So my championship elevator pitch was about how the degrees after your name, the letters after your name, right, that you work so hard in school to get, the degrees aren't enough. The academic accomplishments aren't enough. If you can't tell your story in a way that's compelling, your academic experience really doesn't matter much. And that's also true for our professional experience. I mean, people say, I've got 23 years experience doing this, that, and the other thing. And sometimes people look at you and go, so what? What does that mean that you can do for me? What does that mean that we can do together? Daniel Pink talks about this in his book, and I love the way that he says, the past is certain. The past is what we know about. But you know what people are interested in? Potential. Potential trumps the past. So while it's easy to talk about what's gone on before, such as your academic accomplishments or professional achievements, what really gets people engaged is what's the potential? What might we be able to do together? And how do you phrase that? It's very tricky, and that's part of what I put together in the book is a structure or a process, if you will. In fact, it's a 7-step process for building and creating this elevator pitch, if you will. But not just any elevator pitch, right? Not some memorized speech that you regurgitate. The new elevator pitch is a recipe for communication. And again, whether you tweet it or tell it, it's a methodology that you can use whether you're going in to talk to investors, or whether you're going in to talk to your boss, or you're going in to talk to your team or your board of directors. It's conversational strategies to make your story stand out. And I think that it's so important to talk about this idea of the new elevator pitch, because I don't know if you know this, Jeff, but where the whole idea of the elevator pitch comes from. Do you have any idea where the elevator pitch started?
I'm sorry, I don't. I don't know where it began.
Here's the thing that's interesting. It actually started in the studio days of Hollywood. The studio days of Hollywood. And the idea is that an aspiring screenwriter would see an executive, a movie executive, getting ready to get into an elevator and would proceed to go to the elevator and jump in with him and sell or pitch his screenplay idea. And the myth or the urban legend says that he would sell that screenplay idea before the elevator reached the top floor. And that's where the idea of the elevator pitch comes from, this idea that you could persuade someone in the course of a short elevator ride. And today that's changed and it's transformed and it's become something that they teach in business school and they teach in sales training classes and marketing classes and all kinds of places all over the place. But the fact of the matter is that you have to take time to tell your story, because your story is the way that people connect. I mean, like I think of you and your story, your trademark hat, Jeff, you know, that lets people know that it's you, Jeff Ogden, except no substitutes, right?
Absolutely true, and this is my trademark, and it's my branding. Absolutely. Now I know we've got a great offer in this show. Tell us a little bit about what people can get if they click the link at the top of this show.
Terrific. Yes, I'm really excited to share this with you, because this is something that Jeffrey Hayes, if you remember, he and I first connected around this National Elevator Pitch Championship. And as a result of that relationship and my strong respect for Jeff, I just appreciate so many of the things that he does, have so much respect for him. But last year we went into the studio and we created a video curriculum, a video course that can show you how to pitch anything and win. It's called the 118 Pitch Course. If you remember, Jeffrey Hazlett was the one who said in the mirror test that the new elevator pitch is 118 seconds long. So here's how to build your elevator pitch, and you can access it. And I'm not exactly sure, because I'm not sure that I'm the URL, but you can access it at bit.ly, like bit, what happened after you met the vampire.ly/go118, and that will take you to our course on Udemy. And we've got a special offer that's exclusive to folks that are fans that watch the show, and that offer will be good through the end of the year, through the end of 2013. So you can click on the link, follow the URL, and use the coupon code that's provided exclusive to the folks that watch Marketing Made Simple TV. And that's our offer, and it's an opportunity for you to access nearly 2 hours of video instruction, as well as online quizzes, modeling, downloading excerpts from our books, and the materials that you need to make your story strong, confident, and compelling.
That's great, Chris. And they don't even have to remember that bit.ly link. There's a button right at the top here. All they have to do is click on click here, and they're there. It's it's there. So this has been a great conversation. And I wish we had longer to talk. But just tell me, when people want to learn more about National Elevator Pitch, and particularly you, I'm sure people want to see this. It's like, who is this guy, Chris Westfall? Tell me more about him. Where can people go to get more information?
There are a couple of places that people can go to find out more. First is my YouTube channel. I've got, I think, over 115 videos, and I think I'm close to almost 700,000 video views. And these videos are examples of many of the elements that I talk about in my book. And these videos can show you how to stop saying and like. They can help you to become more confident about your message. And you can find that on YouTube, youtube.com/Westfall Online. You can also find out more about my book, The New Elevator Pitch, and that's available at thenewelevatorpitch.com. If you want to get in touch with me and find out more about what I might be able to do for you or your organization, my website is westfallonline.com, and one of the things that I offer online is, if you're interested to learn more about me and you'd like to talk about what I might be able to do for you, you can fill out a form that's right there on the website and actually set up an appointment so we can talk further and find out just exactly how I might be able to help you. So those are some resources that I have available in addition to the 118 Pitch Course.
I want to thank Chris Westfall for being on the show today. Go to Westfall Online. Westfall Online, it's his Twitter ID, it's his website, it's everything. So just remember Westfall Online. And pick up that new book. I'm sure it's sold on Amazon, as well as he gave you the website for the book. So Marketing Made Simple TV premieres every Thursday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Before we go, we want to thank our sponsors. Avatage is a great content marketing company in the Boston area. Go to avatage.com. DigitalEthos.org is a nonprofit company. Communication Strategy Group is brand telling, communicationstrategygroup.com. And WatchUp2 provides this wonderful platform for creating an online TV show. Check them out at watchut2.com. As I mentioned before, Marketing Made Simple premieres every Thursday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. So till next time, we'll see you again on Marketing Made Simple TV.